just like that, we are back. Happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for joining the show today. And as always, a nice list of guests here to join me. Mondays are great because I get to talk to these wonderful people. A little bit of a last-minute change. Justin Randall from Lambton College was going to join us, but that couldn't happen today, so he'll reschedule. And instead, I've got my friend Dom Fernandes going to be joining us in just a few moments. I hope you got out and enjoyed the weekend. I did something I hadn't done in a while. I went out last night to Ups and Downs. They still have their open mic night that they've had there for forever, hundreds of years. However long Ups and Downs has been around, I'm pretty sure that that open mic's been going on. And Rick Steves down there entertaining and, hosting. And a lot of different talent goes up down there. So if you're ever looking for something to do on a Sunday night, open mic night, I believe it starts at 9 o'clock. I got there a little bit later, but it's either 9 or 10. I can't remember. I think it's 9 o'clock. So, and if you're an entertainer, you want to go down there and play some guitar, or if you just want to sing, Rick Steves can play the tunes for you as well. So enjoyed that. Hadn't been there in a while. So nice to get out and see some local talent. What else did you do over the weekend? There's never lack of anything to do. That's for sure. It's been a busy weekend around this household. And then, of course, the Sarnia Sting. Yes, we've got to talk about the Sarnia Sting. And it's tough to talk about the Sarnia Sting, I'll tell you, because they're 0-5. They haven't won a game yet as far as this season goes. But that doesn't mean they're out of the water yet. Of course, there's a whole season still left to go, and we're going to be at every Sarnia Sting home game for you and bringing you the live updates as well. And, of course, it's not just Sarnia Sting. It's more than a game. And more than a game it is right now because the battle is on. They've got to get into the win column. We're going to have a little bit of a recap here brought to you by Oswald's Diner and Active Ears Hearing Center here in Sarnia-Lambton. So, first, over the weekend on Friday night, they would take on the Barrie Colts and a loss there of 6-4. But let me tell you this, their first period, I'm not going to, and they won't deny it either, wasn't that great, but they come out in the second period and played some really fantastic hockey. In fact, they come out so hard and proved they could play really strong against an experienced team like the Barrie Colts, who do have lots of experience, but they still came up a little bit short, and they had a strong third period as well. Final score there, 6-4. And then it would come to be on Sunday. Yes, Sunday afternoon games are now 4 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock. And there's a few of them this year. And again, we'll be there broadcasting live. The Guelph Storm, who, of course, if you're an OHL follower, you'll know that the Guelph Storm, they were the champions last year. And that might have been concerning to some of the fans coming to the Sting game yesterday. But you have to remember, rosters change. And there's a few players that were there with the Guelph Storm last year when they won the championship that are not there this year. But hence, they still come out. It seems to be the second period is the strongest right now for the Sarnia Sting. And we did talk post-game with Sam Bitton, who is one of the ones who is new to the Sarnia Sting, but has had, I believe he's had his third goal of the season already. So it looks like we'll be seeing lots from Sam Bitton. But in talking to him post-game, he said, we've got to figure out how to come out strong, start strong. And he said the leaders, like himself, are the ones that have to kind of set the pace and the path for the young members of the team who are still coming onto the team and, still trying to figure it out and implementing systems. As we talked to Brad Staubitz last week on, Friday after the Barrie Colts game, they just have to implement those systems and work a little bit harder. And it's going to be some frustration along the way, but got to push forward and keep going. And as coaching staff, he said he was very confident in the abilities of the young part of the team. So we'll see what happens. Again, falling short there to the Guelph Storm, 5-3. We're really rooting for them, right? And of course, we always want your team to win. So if you want to come out and give some support, go to sarniasting.com. You can go online there and get your tickets to go and see Sunday games. There are always special family day packs available as well. And that's all available on sarniasting.com. Coming up this Friday, October the 11th, we'll be back there again as the Sarnia Sting play host to the Peterborough Petes. And hopefully the Sarnia Sting getting started with a win on that night. Puck drop for that is 7:05. And this past week, I have to say, Jay Peckham, who normally joins me on the live broadcast, he had to be off. He lost his voice. Jay lost his voice. Can't imagine why. And he had to miss yesterday as well. So I was really pleased that my friend Danny Cacciamilio was able to come out and join me on Friday. He'll be back, especially as Sioux Greyhounds. I promised him a spot when they play the Sioux Greyhounds. He wants a piece of that action. And Jake Chersky from Philly Cheese Jakes joined me yesterday for all the broadcasts, and he'll be back regularly as well. So we're going to have a mix-up and mash of different fan perspectives and commentators to join me. So I'm grateful for those who can help me out with that. Again, thanks to Oswald's Diner. You can visit them on Facebook as well. And Active Ears Hearing Center, of course, also on Facebook for their support of this Sarnia Sting recap. And if you're not doing anything tonight and you'd like to meet some of the Sarnia Sting, starts at 6 o'clock tonight at Boston Pizza. The Sting will serve you. That's right. They'll be there, and they'll be doing autographs and hanging out with you. And if you want to talk to your favorite Sarnia Sting, tonight's the night. Boston Pizza, 6 o'clock. All right. Well, I just want to do a little bit of a recap from last week because I feel this is really important. Everything we talk about here I like to think is important, but this is one that doesn't get as much attention as normal. Pandas Pans Ontario, and Carrie Hendrickson was here last week to talk with us about a special event that is coming up this Thursday at the Imperial Theatre. And it's an event called Stolen Childhood. And, well, it's a documentary about Pandas Pans disease and how you can learn more about that. It's also a fundraiser to support Pandas Pans Ontario and the local chapter here in Sarnia. And if you want to know more about that, I would encourage you to go to their Facebook page or go back and watch the show that we did last week with Carrie Hendrickson joining us to talk about Pandas Pans Ontario. Again, this Thursday, October the 10th at the Imperial Theatre, Stolen Childhood, a documentary about Pandas Pans disease and a fundraiser again for the local chapter. So I hope you take the time to go and check that out as well. All right, well, I got to tell you, there's always I was out the other day on the motorcycle for about 20 minutes and I had to go somewhere. I had to be somewhere else. And I was really bummed because it was a beautiful day. But I want to just put it out there. Keep in mind the motorcycles are still out on the road. So when you're driving four wheels, keep an eye out for the two wheels. They still are out there. And many of the local motorcycle clubs are having different rallies. So there's going to be lots of motorcycles. We riders like to go. We'd go to December if there were nice days, right? So remember that the bikes are out there and you want to keep an eye out for two wheels. And the two-wheelers need to keep an eye out as well. So be safe out there. And Halloween's coming up. Have you got any plans for Halloween? I was just going to dress up as a talk show host. What do you think? I could probably look pretty good for that. Anyway, it's going to be lots of Halloween parties happening out there as well coming up over the next few weeks. So make sure you're careful out there when you're doing that as well. All right, moving on. I'm real proud of this guy. He's been a real motivator in many people's lives and my life as well. And now he's going to make an appearance here. We're going to get a bit of an update as he's going to be talking to us about his new book that he's been working on. My very good friend, Domingos Fernandes. How you doing, Dom?
Not bad, Dave. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for being here last minute.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime. Great seeing you at the game last night.
Yeah, I was glad that, we didn't get as much time as I would have liked to because I'm busy working, but it was nice to get a shot with you, and we had a little bit of a conversation there. I'm glad you were able to get out and enjoy that.
Yeah, and then thanks to Jim Bruner, too, for the ticket.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice of him to do that. He says, "Don't tell anybody it was me," but I told him I told him that I was going to mention it anyway because it was a nice thought for him to do. Oh. And was that your first? Did you go to any of the games last season?
You know what? Last time I went to a Sarnia Sting game, there's got to be about 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So we have a new fan now?
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
It's nothing like watching it live than compared to watching it on TV.
Yeah. Live's definitely always the better way to go. Well, it was good for you to get out anyway and enjoy a bit of it. You didn't bring any luck to them, though.
No. That last goal, I wasn't too happy with that one.
Yeah, lots of people weren't, including the Sting.
To me, it looked like the one guy was offside when that goal was scored. So
yeah. Well, we're all a referee when we're not playing the game or down there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you've been having quite a journey. I know we've had you on here a few times, but I like bringing you back up here so that people can remember that what you're doing is something that, well, I think it's really important. I know it's important to you, but you're in the process of writing a book called My Journey with MS.
My journey with MS, the long road.
Yeah.
With Dolly Cortez out of Illinois, our mutual friend.
Yeah.
Which, I'm glad that you accepted to write the prologue for me.
Well, I appreciate you asking. I was, I'm not going to lie, I was caught a little bit off guard, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I mean, that's, thanks for asking me to do that.
No, you're welcome, and I appreciate you accepting.
So your new book, My Journey with MS, the Long Road. Are you? How far along are you with writing this?
We're just starting getting on to chapter 1. We've already got the introduction and everything done, and I'll tell you, from what I read on the introduction, it's an actual eye opener. It's going to make you want to read the book.
Fantastic. This is a new experience for you to write a book. You've never done something like this before, have you?
Never. No, I didn't. I never even thought I would ever be writing a book until after, I seen Anita on your show and Dolly commenting in the comments. I reached out to her, and this is where we are today.
Yeah. How long of a process is this to be? Is there a goal set of when, like a deadline set of when you're supposed to have this done?
By May 15th.
Okay. And then where will it be published?
It'll be published in Illinois, where Dolly lives, through Rose Gold Publishing, and it will be listed on Amazon.
Nice. What made you think that you needed to do this?
Well, the way I'm looking at it is, I think you might already know this part, but 40% of all proceeds from the book are being donated to the MS Society of Canada.
Oh, wow. 40%, that's pretty generous.
Well, it's a way to pay it forward. The MS Society has always been there when I needed them.
Yeah. How long's your journey been with MS now? How many years?
Coming up on 17 in January.
17. And were you always this positive? Because, I've known you a long time, probably 25 years. Were you always this positive with it?
No, you know what? I hate to say it, but MS itself is kind of a blessing in disguise. It's like I said in my speech, it's given me a new perspective on life, and it just blossomed from there. And I had actually mentioned to Dolly that there's been a couple of times you've mentioned on your show that you would think of what would Dom do.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if that happens to be the name of a chapter in the book.
There you go. Well, it's true, because I mean, we all have bad days, right? And we're all in different situations in our life, mentally and physically, and I think sometimes we I don't know, we cry or we whine or whatever that looks like about we're having a bad day, and then I think, well, what would Dom do? Right? Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Dolly's watching right now. She just commented on our photo that we did last night at the Sting game.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, she, I can't remember exactly what her comment was, but I know she said hi to you, and then I think she called me amazing. I myself, I don't find that much amazing about myself. I'm just out there to help as many people as I can when I can.
Yeah. Well, you have you have a way of talking with people. You always have, as long as I've known you, and way back before MS had affected you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe you're a bit of a charmer.
Well, I'm a people person, so
Yeah.
driving cab actually taught me that. You have to be a people person if you're driving cab. You can't, be the negative Nelly and have a bad attitude.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot you did that. That was a while ago for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been quite a while, but I'm keeping an eye on the exchange rates right now. I see it's down to I think it's 25 cents on the dollar right now. It used to be 34, or no, 33.
Okay. What are you keeping an eye on the exchange rate for?
Because I make monthly payments to Dolly.
Okay.
For the book. So, and if I can get it down at a little cheaper price, it's more money going to the book. And I've got a GoFundMe going. And you can find that on my page and in my group.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I mean, you don't just wake up and go, I'm going to write a book and put it down on computer or paper or whatever that looks like and say, oh yeah, I just put it up there and publish it. And there's cost involved. How's Dolly or in her company?
They're actually ghostwriting it for me. Dolly is trying to do what she can to trigger my memories.
Yeah.
My memory isn't all that great. So if there's something that she says that sparks my memory of like earlier on, like we're gonna be starting like early, that's where the great deal of cost is coming from, plus travel expense to go to the book gala July 31st next year in Illinois, which I do have to get my passport for. So
right. So there's some expense involved, and I mean, obviously, because of your situation, you're on a limited budget income, right? So you've got the GoFundMe page, which we'll post the link to that after the show on our Facebook, so people can support you if that's something they want to choose to do. But so you're, to me, it shows you're really dedicated because, limited budget at your end, you're still willing to, you're putting your own into this, but you are asking for some help. And any talk of like maybe a fundraiser coming up to help you here locally?
As of right now, no. Looking into one. I do have people interested in helping me get it organized. Just finding a place to do so. Maybe I can catch up with you sometime this week and go for coffee or something and have a little chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd enjoy that. We don't do that often enough as it is, so let's just do that anyway.
Blackwater's not far from my house. It's just downtown.
One of my favorite places to go for coffee.
That's why I suggested it.
There you go. How is it for you, so when you're by yourself, like you talk about how Dolly and maybe some others talk with you to trigger your memory, but when you're by yourself, are you still thinking about things about the book and how do you keep yourself focused?
Actually, I do think about the book especially the nights that I suffer insomnia.
Right.
I'm just laying there in bed. Well, nothing better to do than think about the book. And I hit a bit of a block. I was supposed to have a meeting with Dolly today, which we now rescheduled till tomorrow. Dolly will be on the show with myself and Corinne tomorrow.
Right.
And then after that show, we'll be doing our meeting.
Right.
Um,
And how has the live streaming has that helped you with MS as well? I mean, obviously you're talking about MS on your show, but has that helped you personally deal with it?
Actually, you know what? It makes me a little more positive.
Yeah.
Just knowing that I'm reaching people around the world, not only here in Sarnia, and I think I'm up to almost 350 followers, and almost, I'd say, pretty close to 350 likes.
That's great.
So, and well, you're in the min on my group and my page, so you probably see when I make updates.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. I want to learn more about it.
Yeah.
And anybody watching, if you something you're passionate about, not afraid to get in front of the camera, live streaming would be the thing to do it.
Well, it's nice to hear you say that, and I know it was a little bit of a learning curve for you with that too, but I was glad to be able to help you with that, and I know you've got a lot of support from the Be-Livers group as well. And we've got Deanne Berube out there. Hello, Deanne. Nice to see you stopping by. She's just giving us, she's probably giving you a round of applause there.
Oh, awesome. Deanne, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
And for those of you who are watching, if you're watching the broadcast, we are simulcasting in about 4 or 5 different countries. We're simulcasting United Kingdom, Ireland, South Africa, throughout the United States, and of course throughout Canada too. So we're thankful to our Facebook hubs and our friends for rebroadcasting our show here every Monday as well. So if you have any questions, you do have to be watching from the Show with David Burrows page. But we welcome your comments and your suggestions, or your comments and your suggestions. Back up, Burrows. Your comments and your questions during the broadcast with any of our guests as well. Well, Dom, congratulations once again on this new journey, talking about your journey with MS. And I know there's some exciting times ahead. You've got to be pretty excited about all of this.
I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty sure just the introduction to the book alone is going to make people want to read it.
Fantastic. Well, and I'm looking forward. I got to connect with Dolly and see what kind of a prologue you're expecting from me, and we'll make that work for you as well too.
All right. Well, and as you know that I just got out of the hospital myself. I had a little bit of pneumonia.
Yes, I know. But you always seem to push through and bounce back.
Yeah, and nothing slows me down.
No, it doesn't seem to, Dom, and that's I think that's one of the inspiring things about you. Lynn Bantam is out there saying hello to us as well. Hello, Lynn. Thanks for joining us today. Hello, and Dom, I've got to move on to my next guest, but thanks again for giving me your time here today. And well, hopefully we'll see you at another Sting game too. And let's reach out. Let's reach out later today, and maybe this evening, and see if we can schedule a time. We'll go for some Blackwater coffee.
Sounds great.
All right, Dom. Take care.
Thank you.
My very good friend Domingos Fernandes taking the time to join us today to talk about his journey with his new book called Talking MS is his page. I don't know what it is. Last day with the new lips or old day with the new. I don't know. Talking about his new book, My Journey with MS, and you can also follow him along with on his page and his group called Talking MS. And if you want to find out more about MS, or I can tell you as well, in that group when he goes live, which he does almost every day, 5 days a week, he welcomes anybody to talk about any kind of illness, or just if you're just having a bad day and you just want to talk and hang out, that is a great place to do it. And once again, that's called Talking MS. So thanks again to my friend Dom for joining us. And I do look forward to having some coffee with you again. Dom, thanks for that. All right. Well, let's move on to something next part of our show here. The Brain Injury Association has got a special event coming up, and we've got Lori here. I think she's ready. Hello, Lori. Thanks for joining.
Hi, David. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah.
Let's talk about before we get into. I know you got a special event coming up here, but let's talk about the Brain Injury Association. What exactly that offers to the community.
Okay, great. Yes, we offer support to survivors of brain injury and to their family members at large. We provide a fairly active social leisure program for our survivors, and we also offer support groups as well. So
Right.
support groups for caregivers, as we're speaking today, yeah, we want to be there for those who have been affected by brain injury, and also remembering that a concussion can be a brain injury as well.
Oh, is that right? Okay, I guess I never
Yeah.
really would have thought of it that way. I guess. Well, I guess when I think of brain injury, I think something terrible's happened at work or some kind of tragic accident, right? But I mean, obviously, anything that happens can be tragic, but it's not always something that happens in the workplace, though, right?
No. I mean, it can be as something, as you said, as catastrophic as as a motor vehicle accident. But it can also be something simple as, falling and hitting your head, while you're skating or skiing or just simply walking,
Yeah.
and you bumped your head severely. We see a lot of that in the sports industry as well. So,
Mhm.
and then we're realizing more and more that, there's complex variables that are involved when you have a number of concussions. And so there are,
Yeah, well, it's
certain
sports is definitely there's a lot of issues in many sports, right, with that, and a lot of debate and controversy over that actually. But I'm guessing that this is something that until something happens to me directly, or right, I guess when I say directly, could be my immediate family. It's often hard to get the awareness out there because it's one of those things where, and unless you need the service, we don't really think about it daily, right? Is that fair to say?
It's very fair to say. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We don't think about it, and knock on wood, unless, like you said, we need the service, we just carry on about our day. But and the other thing too is that brain injury is often an invisible disability. So,
Right.
we could be rubbing shoulders with somebody that has a brain injury and we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Which,
I've had that experience.
have you? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then was told later, and I was like, well, that was a little funny. And then later,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, really? I had no idea. But it's like anything. Like you don't walk up and say, hi, my name is, and by the way, I have diabetes.
That's right. Yes.
So
Exactly.
same kind of thing.
That's right.
So what kind of services, like I'm guessing that this obviously services for the victim when something like this occurs, but what about the families of the victim as well?
Well, this is it. And we're recognizing more and more that in order to help the victim or the survivor, we realize that we need to be supporting the caregiver. Because they are the ones that are experiencing the trauma, and they are the ones that are, front and center. They are needing to support their loved one, whether it's their husband, their parent, their child. They're the ones that are having to learn about what's happened to their family loved one. They have to advocate on behalf of them, and they're the ones that have to live with it day in and day out as well, and adapt to it as well.
I was going to say, you kind of read my mind there. You had to adapt. You have this life going structured and, routines and all that daily stuff. And then all of a sudden it just changes I'm sure, instantly.
Exactly.
And then everybody has to adapt. And what do I do? How do I treat somebody different? I spoke to somebody recently in the last couple of weeks who their husband had brain injury, and she said it's like being married to a whole new person. I didn't marry that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There can be so many changes with that individual. Personality changes, of course, changes in the relationship. So it might feel like you're now the parent of that husband,
Yeah.
and so that can be such a huge adaptation in that relationship. And it's hard. It's hard. And a lot of times caregivers, feel like they're doing this alone because who do they talk to? Who do they talk to? And you don't want to be, just sharing this information with anybody. So this is a great
Yeah.
opportunity. Yeah.
Is there stigma attached to this too? Like we talk mental health a lot of times, and there's always a stigma attached to that. Is there similarity with this as well? And
I think there is, David. Yes, because there's with the stigma, there's a lack of understanding
right.
and awareness, and I think that it gets misunderstood, and I think that unless we know and understand a little bit more about what brain injury is, I think the stigma is there, and I
Yeah.
think as I said earlier, it becomes just something that's misunderstood and chalked up to something else. Our survivors carry around a little card with them as members of the Ontario Brain Injury
Oh yeah.
Association. And the nice thing is that if they were, let's say, pulled over by the police while driving, and let's say their speech is slurred because of the brain injury, this can qualify why their speech is slurred. And it's not because of, impaired driving, for example. But a lot of times that can be something that might be misunderstood, or their gait, for example, their walking. A lot of our survivors are accused wrongly of, you must be drunk. Look at how you're walking.
Yeah. Right.
So there's a lot of misunderstandings and misconceptions.
Yeah. So, what about the age group? Like young children can, like, this affects
Sure,
anybody, right? Obviously.
it does. Yeah.
What about in the schools? Do you have to deal with like teachers in the school to help them understand?
I think so. Yes. I think and I think we're getting there. I think overall brain injury is still a topic that needs to be discussed more and more. Um, and I noticed I'm actually a little plug for the Ontario Brain Injury Association. They're having a big conference in early November, and I
Okay.
noticed it's wonderful because there's a lot of workshops dedicated to reintegration of students in the school system. Because if someone's had a concussion or someone has had a traumatic brain injury, they just can't go back into the classroom for 8 hours a day
Right.
anymore. There's so many variables attached to that. So I think we're getting there. We're not quite there yet, but you know,
Well, like
we're
anything else, it's misunderstood.
mhm,
Education and awareness, right? I mean, that's
exactly,
we hear that a lot
absolutely,
with different organizations and programs, and so it
that's
sounds.
right.
And we've talked before. You've been on the show before, and
Mhm.
we've talked in person a few times. And it's every time I talk to you, it sounds like there's a little more progression that's being made. You're headed in the
Yeah,
right direction
we are.
to get that out there. And this caregiver education workshop sounds like. Is this something that you have done before, or is this a new program?
No, this is a new opportunity with some funding that was received from the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care.
Okay.
I think there's some recognition here and rightfully so, for the caregivers. And we have the training specialist that is traveling actually all across Ontario to
Oh, nice.
provide this well deserved and needed training for caregivers, and recognizing that caregivers provide potentially the best training for for survivors, and that would qualify for any condition really, and that they need to be heard, listened to, and provided the education they need as well.
Right. Now, can anybody come to this? Like, does it have to be somebody that's dealing with it? Or if I just wanted to come and find out more so I'm more aware, could I come to this workshop?
Well, we're targeting it towards unpaid caregivers. So really try. I mean, it's open to anybody if you wanted, David. But really, we're trying to hit family members and active caregivers that are right in the trenches of caregiving those with a brain injury at this point. But certainly, we're not going to have anybody turn down or walk away,
Sure.
because as we know, we never know what tomorrow could bring as well, right? We're not.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
Is there
Education
is there a
is free.
cost involved for people to go, or?
No, it's absolutely free. It's from 1 to 4. It's a 3-hour workshop. There will be some great resources provided. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have some door prizes as well, refreshments. Really a great opportunity. Caregivers, as I said, we offer a caregiver support group once a month at the office, and they tend to like to come see me individually. To sit and talk as a group, it's a little bit more reserved, I think.
Sure.
I think it's a tough discussion for them. So we really want to try to keep this informative, but have a little bit of fun and reward them and credit them and thank them for the hard work they're doing.
Yeah, well, not an easy task, I'm sure, and
No.
and especially like there's not just one brain injury assessment, right? Like there's so many different variables to each case that's got to make it even more difficult to what do I do?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. No two brain injuries are alike, is what we always say, and every individual is to be treated, as an individual. Their experiences are all unique. And it can be quite taxing for sure. So
well, it's good that this is available then, and I'm glad to have you back, and we'll get some more awareness out there for the Brain Injury Association, and we'll be sure to share this after the show as well. If people want to find you, what's the best, like all of a sudden this happens and where do I go? How do people find you?
Yeah, absolutely, David. People can reach out to us. Our phone number is 519-337-5657. Our office is out. We share and rent a space at the VON out on London Line, 1705 London Line. And certainly welcome to give us a call, and I would be more than happy to reach out to them. Yeah.
All right.
We're always willing to meet with them.
Very
and
good.
we have an open invitation. We meet every week on Tuesdays for caregivers and survivors at the Coffee Lodge. Yeah, at 1:00. So
sorry, where do you meet?
At the Coffee Lodge on Exmouth Street.
Okay, every Tuesday.
Yes, yeah. So people are welcome to join us there, and that really becomes an open support group, really for a lot of our survivors. Yeah, well, integration is important.
Well, I've got to move on, but thank you so much for joining me again today, Lori, and thanks for the work that you do with the Brain Injury Association. And we'll be sure to share all of this and keep me posted on other events that are coming up as well, so we can get some more awareness out there for you.
We appreciate it a lot, David. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
Okay,
You're welcome.
Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
And there's Lori from the Brain Injury Association of Sarnia-Lambton, and their caregiver education workshop is coming up on October the 16th. It is free to go. And so if you know somebody who's dealing with some brain injury as a caregiver, I can imagine that, like I say, we were talking there, like that just life would change instantly. So this is a good opportunity to get out and I guess maybe even just share, your personal experiences if you're somebody who's dealing with that. So thanks again, Lori, for coming by and sharing that with us. All right. Oh, I'm always happy to have her back. My friend, Paula McKinlay, stopping by to say hello. Hello, Paula.
Hi, how are you?
Have
Can
you
you hear
back?
me?
I'm fantastic. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Wonderful. I don't even need a microphone. You probably still hear me, right?
Yep, you got her.
How have you been? I know you're always busy down there at the Canadian Cancer Society.
Nothing. Just putting my feet up, just chilling.
Gonna go on the show, talk with Dave.
That's right. My favorite time.
Yeah, thanks for saying that.
I don't know. It's October, so I don't have anything to do. It's all good.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it's October. Like, what happened to the summer, right? I don't even know where we didn't have one. Did we? We missed a month?
Yeah, we
in
were
there.
all at Border Fest. We were all there.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the summer.
That was the summer and the tall ships, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But you're always busy though. You've got lots going on with the Canadian Cancer Society. What's the most recent? What's happening?
Well, it's October, so there's always lots going on. Of course, pink ribbons. I think every weekend we're out there at in a retail somewhere. We had a golf tournament this past weekend at Witter Station, and of course, I think in 9 sleeps, we have flavors and favors, and then taking steps against breast cancer. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, so you're really not putting your feet up.
No. And I have a glass window, so if I did, somebody would catch me for sure.
Okay. They're sneaking up. They're keeping an eye on you. Make sure you're doing
Absolutely. There's cancer to be cured.
Yes. Well, let's talk about that. I mean, obviously, I don't think there's anybody that really doesn't know what cancer is, and there's different types. And most of us have experienced somebody either personally or somebody we know has done. What's the number now? Is it 1 in 4?
We are there'll be 1 in 2 Canadians that will be diagnosed in their lifetime with cancer. That doesn't mean they're dying of cancer. It just means there'll be a diagnosis.
Okay. All right. Is that better than where we were, or is it just?
Well, it is. The survival rate is better. So the 1 in 2 is, you have to think of what our population is becoming, right? The baby boomers are becoming seniors, and
Right.
There's lots of them. So we have people living longer. So the chance of getting cancer is going to be higher because there's more people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there's more that survive, better treatments. There's opportunities are endless. So, and that's what we work on every day.
Things are improving, I guess, is what.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's diagnosis now that once upon a time they were a death sentence, and there's curable cancers. And the big thing is prevention and awareness and knowing your body are going to be key to that. Right.
Well, similar to what we were just talking about there with Lori, it's it can be life changing.
Absolutely.
Instantly. I know. Well, my father was affected by it, and I know several people around me that have been affected by it. Like, I don't think there's anybody you could talk to that in some way hasn't been affected by it.
And I am so fortunate that I get to see people walk through these doors that do amazing things with their grief or with their survivorship. So it is, I get to see the positives that can come from.
Yeah. That's feel good stuff. I know, and it is important because, there's a lot of emotion that goes on with something like this, right? Too, because I think that C word does, rightfully so, scare a lot of people, and it's kind of a OMG, what do I do now? Where do I get support? I still have a job and I have to keep working so that I can stay home and take care of my spouse. But I can't stay home because I got to work. And so there's a lot of contradicting circumstances, I guess, that happens out there.
Absolutely.
How does that get handled?
It's life altering. I mean, it's financially altering. I mean, we still fight the government on a daily basis to get take-home drugs covered in this province. And because we're not covered, but other provinces are. So that is, as our influencers are hitting the campaign trail, the Canadian Cancer Society is knocking on their doors saying, make the other provinces accountable for it.
Yeah. It blows
So-
my. I'm not going to get deep into it, obviously, but it really blows my mind how the government doesn't support it the way it probably should. But then there's other things I see them support, and I'm like, really?
Yeah. Yep. And all we can do on our end is continue to stand at, Parliament Hill and at Queen's Park and say, show them the stats and have loud voices and say, this is what needs to be done. And, we've been heard. I mean, maybe not on this issue, but think about where you can smoke and where you can't smoke anymore. I mean, we stood where we needed to stand. And, do you remember the days of being in a bar and how much you inhaled? First, second, or third hand cigarettes, and you don't come home smelling like a cigarette anymore. And you know what? It's we're making progress every day. So it's not just, we don't just fund research. We do fund the best research in Canada, but it's not all about research. It's about prevention. It's about support. It's about our Wheels of Hope program to make sure people can get to their life-saving treatment. It's better treatments, clinical trials, and of course, knocking down the doors to make this country a healthier country.
Yeah. The Wheels of Hope, fantastic, that program, Wheels of Hope, because you have somebody, well, I'll give my example of my dad. I mean, I got to work. I couldn't always get the time to get him where he needed to be. And I know he used that program and stuff. So, I mean, that's a lifesaver, so to speak.
We get letters and phone calls and saying that if it wasn't for the Wheels of Hope program, that they would be dead because they didn't have a reliable vehicle. This community is actually full of seniors that don't have support around because their kids have moved out of town.
I was just going to say, not everybody stays close to mom and dad. They move away,
Nope.
right?
Absolutely. And when it comes to radiation, we're talking 5 days a week. So even if you have support, can your husband or wife take 5 days a week off to get you to that 3-minute, 8-minute treatment? Yeah. No, that's what our program's for.
Yeah. The bank still wants their mortgage. Right. And that's
absolutely
that's a big part of it for sure. The truck payments or car payment, all that stuff.
Yep.
It doesn't change just because cancer showed up all of a sudden.
So
you must see, well, like you say, you see a lot of stories in front of you, right? So let's talk about, I know you got the Flavors and Favors event coming up, and that's specifically geared towards young children, right?
Correct. So that is our big fundraiser that happens in October. This year it's October 18th, that all of the proceeds go to childhood cancer research.
Yeah.
And it is, I think we have 23 tickets left.
That's fantastic, because I know,
you've watched this program, this event grow. And thank you. And but this year there's live auction and silent auction are very plentiful. The alcohol vendors have increased, and the food. I mean, our restaurants in this area are very generous. And so if you go home with an empty belly, then there's a problem.
Well, I can tell you, how much are tickets this year for that?
Still $25.
Yeah.
I know. Everybody keeps saying you need to increase the price. I'll work on it.
$25. And I can tell you, because the past 3 years I've been involved, to go, and Jennifer and I go, and we last year she brought a friend along that said, just, hey, come on, we got this extra ticket, let's go. And she went, and she was like, only $25? She's like, wow, we got all of this. It was like, we pigged out.
Nope. So there's raffles. There's our heads and tails game, which is my ultimate favorite. Keenan will be on tap. Keenan, for one of our little cancer survivors, he'll be up there with us again, spinning the wheel, and that's it. We have some of our pediatric cancer survivors at the event, so people can see what their funds are actually doing. That's showing them hope. Yeah.
Well, hope is a good thing, right? That's for sure.
It is.
Well, congratulations on the success of that. But then, so let's talk more about the taking steps against. Yeah.
Breast cancer. So that is 2 days later, on October 20th. We will be hosting our locally second annual Taking Steps Against Breast Cancer. So yes, it has a breast cancer focus, but that it's not limited to people that have breast cancer. It's, it's still a great fundraiser. Last year we raised $12,000. This year,
Oh.
we're hoping to raise 15,000. We have some amazing sponsors. Our Face of Hope, the community may have heard of her or not. She is a pioneer when it comes to, there she is, sharing her story. I mean, she was a pediatric cancer survivor, and now she is also a breast cancer survivor. She's living actively right now with breast cancer, and many years later. And so she's our Face of Hope, and man, she is inspiring. It's worth the registration just to meet her.
Yeah.
But there is a registration because it is a fundraiser. So adults are $30 until next week, when the price goes up to $40. Kids are welcome, and we're asking 10. And next week it'll be 20. It's a fun, quick, let's do a 5K, 10K walk, run. We've got some entertainment, we've got some food, and lots of hanging out and sharing of stories. So
Yeah.
it is. I'm looking forward to it.
All that stuff, right? I mean, the networking and the socializing. And sorry, where is this happening again?
This will leave from the Seaway Kiwanis Pavilion at Canatera.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yep. So that'll be our home base, and then head towards the bridge.
Right. I read. I got your media release about Krista actually, and reading. Just reading what she shared in that, I was like, I just want to meet her. I really do.
I know,
I just want to talk to her.
It is. And if you haven't, and I'll promote her, if you haven't followed her on Facebook and been part of her, Facebook lives and her blogs and everything, this individual she's raw. She is so truthful and honest and shares her whole experience. And it's not just the good, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And she shares it all. And she's got a bucket list, and she's going to make sure that bucket list is as full as it can be. Every time I see something, she's off to somewhere else, and she shares her journey. Well, I think she just got back from Ireland and England with one of her best friends. And it's just, you know what? We all need to take a page out of Krista's book and live life to the fullest when we can.
Well, we often say that, and if tomorrow never comes, and and we say it, but I don't think we do anything about it often enough. We say it, but but I'll start that tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, we actively, Haley and I, one of my girlfriends was dying, and she said to me, you need to do your bucket list. She goes, I had a bucket list, and I want to do Chicago, New York, you name it, and now I physically can't. I can't leave the country because I don't have insurance, and I'm actively dying. In that meeting, Haley and I sat down and created our bucket list, and we're working on it. So it's in front of us every day and it doesn't have to be big, grand things. I mean, the year that I turned 50 and she turned 16, yikes, we want to do New York City. So, but that's a big one. You know what? It doesn't have to be. It could be a 5K walk, a 10K walk, ever. Just do it. Yeah,
just do it. Nike's been saying it for years. Yep. Just do it.
When you've got it, though, do it.
That's right. And your daughter, you can tell her I said this too. She's quite an inspiring young lady too, because I know she's been through a lot of stuff there that I always enjoy bumping into her. I haven't seen her in a while, so tell her I said hello and hope
she's now doing grade 9 at Great Lakes and loving it.
Grade 9. Wow. I have kids in college.
This is impossible.
I know, right? Well, good for her and good for you. And keep up all the great work that you do here locally at the Canadian Cancer Society. I think you're awesome, and I always enjoy having you back here on the show.
Well, and I think you're awesome, and thank you for always supporting us for whatever. Appreciate it.
Do you need a virtual hug?
Go, let's do it.
Here we go.
Thanks, my friend.
Well, thanks so much. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. My friend Paula McKinlay from the Canadian Cancer Society here in Sarnia. She really is awesome. I mean that, and she does work hard. She's not putting her feet up right now. I can tell you that for sure. So you can find out more about them at Canadian Cancer Society Sarnia-Lambton on Facebook and get registered. Find out how you can go out and support and get some exercise and walk, right? I mean, it's not like that's a bad thing, and you're supporting a great cause at the same time. And like Paula mentioned, it is important to socialize and share stories and share each other's thoughts about what we can do to, well, it's just great to support each other, right? You can't say anything wrong about that. All right. Well, I'm thankful for all of my guests who joined me here today. Thanks to Domingos Fernandes, or my friend Dom, as I like to call him, for talking about his story and his new book that's going to be coming out in May of 2020. His journey with MS, and appreciate him sharing that. And Lori from the Brain Injury Association and their caregiver workshop that's coming up on October the 16th. And then, of course, again, my friend Paula, who's talking about some great events that are coming up to support the Canadian Cancer Society. All right, well, just before I go, I did say it earlier, but I want to say it again. Don't forget the motorcycles are still out on the road, and I'm one of them. So please make sure you're keeping an extra eye out on the road, and people riding on two wheels need to keep an extra eye out there too. Even though it is October, it's still warm enough. We riders, we want to take every day that we can. So please be careful out there. And I want to say special thank you to our friends at AG Event Graphics. You can visit them online at askguy.ca for their support from day one of the show here. So coming up on 8 years, going to be 8 years, November 11th. Do I need to do like a special thing or something? I don't know how many episodes that is. This is episode 414. So many people to thank, but I like to give an extra special shout out, and also to our friends at Joe's Discount Tire who've come on board to support us as well. And of course, our supporters of the Sarnia Sting Recap, Oswald's Diner and Active Ears Hearing Center here in Sarnia. And if you can't watch me, because you, for whatever reason, can't watch me, you can listen to me, take me jogging, take me to the gym, take me on your way to work. Wherever podcasts can be found, you can watch, or listen rather, to the show with David Burrows. And I appreciate you sharing this around so that more people can become aware of our guests that we've talked with here today. All right. I think that's it. I better double check my notes. You never know. Okay. So that's all the time I got for you this week, folks. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will talk to you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.